So, we are live now. Take up an idea, make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it. Live on that idea. Let the brain, muscle, nerve, and every part of your body be full of that idea. And just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to succeed. A very good evening and namaskar. I am Devanshi Sharma, your host and your dost. Welcome to the fifth day of the live legal classes of Startup Founders Legal Pathshala 2022 by Jabalpur Smart City Incubation Center. कोई भी कंपनी अपने आप ही एग्जिस्टेंस में नहीं आ जाती. बहुत सारे ऐसे डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस होते हैं, सर्टिफिकेट्स होते हैं जो हमें अपना स्टार्टअप ओपन करने से पहले करने होते हैं. So to explain everything about ROC, DIN, DSC, MOA, AoA और इनके जितनी भी इम्पोर्टेंस है, we have to describe and to explain everything on this topic. We have CMA Swati Chaturvedi with us. Ms. Swati is a practicing cost accountant, registered valuer, IBBI-SFA, and past chairperson Noida chapter of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Thank you, Swati ma'am, for joining our today's session. Also we have मेरे साथ अग्रांशु सर हैं, इंक्यूबेशन मैनेजर, जबलपुर इंक्यूबेशन मैनेजर. हाय अग्रांशु सर.
हाय देवांशी. एंड डेफिनेटली देखिए, ये एक बहुत अच्छा हमारा जो सीरीज स्टार्ट हुआ है, लीगल पाठशाला हम लेकर के आए हैं हमारे सारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स एंड वाना बी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए. और आज का जो ये टॉपिक चुना गया है कि ये टर्म्स ऐसे हैं जो काफी देखिए दिखने में बड़े हैवी लगते हैं और अक्सर हमारे इन टर्म्स के पीछे कहीं ना कहीं अपने आप को फंसा हुआ अगर महसूस करें कि आरओसी, डिन, डीएससी, एमओए का हुआ है, उसके बाद इन सब का क्या महत्वपूर्ण रोल है, वो सब कुछ आज बताने के लिए हमारे साथ हम अपने शो में हमेशा एक्सपर्ट्स को ही इनवाइट कर रहे हैं, हमारे साथ हम एक्सपर्ट्स को जोड़ रहे हैं. और तो आज के सेशन के लिए डेफिनेटली ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ जबलपुर स्मार्ट सिटी एंड इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर हम वेलकम करते हैं सीएमए स्वाति चतुर्वेदी जी का. मैम, वेलकम टू द शो. और डेफिनेटली जैसा देवांशी ने कहा, एक आइडिया लीजिए, उस आइडिया पे स्टिक कीजिए, उस आइडिया को अपना सब कुछ दीजिए, अपना तन मन धन से. जब हम एक स्टार्टअप आइडिया के लिए आगे बढ़ते हैं तो डेफिनेटली हम सक्सेसफुल होंगे. और जो आपको लीगल में कहीं पर भी दिक्कत आ रही हो और स्टार्टअप्स को जहां पे भी लगता है कि वो लीगल में फंस सकते हैं, और कुछ टर्मिनोलॉजीज है जो मैंने कहा ना कि ये जो आरओसी, डिन, डीएससी, एमओए, एओए अक्सर रजिस्ट्रेशन पे जाने से पहले जो ये सारी चीजों का एक मन में ख्याल आ रहा होता है कि ये क्या है. तो आज डेफिनेटली हमारे साथ एक बहुत एक्सपीरियंस सीएमए है और डेफिनेटली हमें पूरा यकीन है मैडम की आज जो नॉलेज से हम सारे जो व्यूअर्स हैं हमारे, उनको आज ये सारी टर्म्स के बारे में समझने का मौका मिलेगा. और उसके बाद ये सारी चीजें सरल लगेंगी. कंपनी रजिस्ट्रेशन पे जाए, बहुत अच्छे से अपने स्टार्टअप पे शिद्दत से ध्यान दें. आपको इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स हर जगह मदद करने के लिए तैयार हैं. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स, आपके स्मार्ट सिटीज, आपके डिस्ट्रिक्ट गवर्नमेंट्स, सब कोई, हर कोई आपको सपोर्ट करेगा. बस आप उद्यमिता को अगर अपना रहे हैं पूरी शिद्दत से उस पर काम करें और डेफिनेटली आपका स्वरोजगार जो है, आपका एक वेंचर हजारों को रोजगार देने का काम करेगा. तो अब हम बिल्कुल भी टाइम वेस्ट ना करते हुए इनवाइट करना चाहेंगे सीएमए श्रीमती स्वाति चतुर्वेदी जी को. और मैं चाहूंगा कि मैम जो है इन सारे हैवी टर्म्स को आज बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन करेंगे और डेफिनेटली अब ये चीजें हमारे व्यूअर्स को बहुत सरल लगेंगी. तो मैम, द स्टेज इज ऑल योर्स. मैं चाहूंगा कि आप जो है इस प्रेजेंटेशन को शुरू करें और डेफिनेटली सभी लोग आपको सुनना चाहते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच. प्लीज
लो ईयरफोन लगाओ जल्दी. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल मैम.
Right, right. Actually, that's the problem with online platforms these days. Now we need to check out whether we are audible or
जी
not.
जी
Very good evening to all the participants. It is my great honor to be a part of this particular platform, whereby I am given this opportunity to interact with so many people around us. And इसको लगाओ सर लग गया. I'm sorry, I had a problem with my earphone. I just changed them.
नो नो नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम जी
Bluetooth बंद करो. Am I audible right now? Actually, I was having
या
a problem understanding.
नो नो ऑडिबल ऑडिबल
Off करो.
आई थिंक हेलो
आई गेस मैम को कुछ टेक्निकल इशू है,
कुछ
अग्रांशु सर.
टेक्निकल ग्लिच है जब तक देखिए डेफिनेटली टेक्निकल ग्लिचेस अक्सर हो जाते हैं टेक्नोलॉजी के अपने लिमिटेशंस हैं बट डेफिनेटली क्योंकि ये टॉपिक बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण है और हम चाहते हैं ये ऐसी टर्म्स हैं कि जिनको एक्सपर्ट्स के थ्रू ही कोशिश करी जाती है कि आप तक पहुंच सके कंपनी रजिस्ट्रेशन के दौरान जो है हमारे स्टार्टअप अक्सर जैसे हमने कल के सेशन में भी देखा था कि अगर आपको किसी भी लीगल प्रॉब्लम में नहीं फंसना है तो आपको ये ध्यान रखना होगा कि आपको अपने स्टार्टअप्स को आपको रजिस्टर करना है अपने बिजनेस को आपको प्रॉपर फिर उसके बाद अपना बिजनेस स्टार्ट करना है और सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीज ये होती है कि इसको हिट एंड ट्रायल समझ के बिजनेस को ना स्टार्ट करें आज का देखिए आज के सेशन की शुरुआत में ही जैसे देवांशी ने कहा एक बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण कोट है कि आप कुछ भी स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं तो आपको उसमें टाइम देना पड़ेगा अपनी एनर्जी देना पड़ेगी आपको उस पर शिद्दत से काम करना पड़ेगा जैकमा जब उन्होंने पहली बार alibaba.com शुरू किया था आज विश्व की सबसे बड़ी कंपनियों में से एक है उन्होंने कहा था कि उन्होंने लगातार 3 साल तक बिना अपने लिए कोई प्रॉफिट अर्न करे जो है लगातार उस कंपनी को चलाया था क्योंकि कम से कम उतना समय देना पड़ता है हमें जब हमारा बिजनेस एक रोलिंग में आ जाए जब चीजें रोलिंग में आ जाए हमारी लोग हमारे बिजनेस को हमारी सर्विसेज को हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स को समझ सके हम रीच कर सके लोगों तक उस समय तक आपको बहुत बड़ा एक इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट जो होता है वो है पेशेंस तो जैसा कि अभी भी हमारे व्यूअर्स डेफिनेटली क्योंकि आज का सेशन महत्वपूर्ण है हमारे गेस्ट स्पीकर उनके लिए बहुत अभी कुछ टेक्निकल ग्लिच है तो डेफिनेटली वो हमारे साथ कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं तब तक आप जितने पेशेंस के साथ आज इस सेशन को देख रहे हैं सुन रहे हैं ऐसा ही और एक लगातार एक पेशेंस की जरूरत होती है जब हम हमारे बिजनेस को सेटअप कर रहे होते हैं तो वो पेशेंस ही है जो आपको एक नेक्स्ट लेवल तक लेकर के जाता है तो ये बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण हो जाता है कि आप वो पेशेंस अपने साथ मेंटेन रखें और लगातार काम करते रहें एक बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण कोट है जो अक्सर कहा जाता है कि अगर आप उड़ नहीं सकते तो दौड़िए अगर दौड़ नहीं सकते तो चलिए चल नहीं सकते तो आप क्रॉल कीजिए बट आगे बढ़ते रहिए और इसी देखिए और जैसे ही हमने कोट फिनिश अप किया है मैम हमारे साथ फिर से जुड़ गए हैं तो डेफिनेटली हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं इस सेशन में और अब बिल्कुल तैयार हैं इस सेशन को आरओसी दिन और सारी ऐसी महत्वपूर्ण टर्म्स को मैम के थ्रू समझने के लिए तो मैम प्लीज लेट्स स्टार्ट
So
और
sorry for the
हमारे व्यूअर्स बिल्कुल
inconvenience.
रेडी
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, to begin with, it is an opportunity which has been given to me by Legal Pathshala Jabalpur Smart Incubation Center, and I'm very, very thankful to all of you for giving me this opportunity. As we always say, this is a platform where we can exchange knowledge, and that is an opportunity for me and for you both. It is not only you who will be going to learn from me, it is also I will be learning from you people because I'll be getting interaction with smart people who are going to go for startups. And as we all know, startups are business ideas. They are very different from the normal entrepreneurs that we see. They are very different in the sense that a normal entrepreneur, he does what is already existing in the economy. Whatever ideas are there, Like suppose I am opening a restaurant chain. There are already restaurants open. I have just taken up another franchisee. So it is just continuing with the existing ideas, existing business, something which has already been tried and tested. But what startup people do is something very different. They do what has not been tried and tested before. So it is very, very risky as far as this particular aspect is concerned. As I've given in my slide, I think it's visible to you. I've given the definition of a startup. Although you people are from the startup background, I just thought before starting up, we must have a background of what we are trying to discuss. The startups are young companies founded to develop a unique product or service, bring it to market, and make it irresistible and irreplaceable for customers. Examples of famous startups we all know: Facebook, Amazon, Apple. There's also Oyo, there are Ola, Uber. These are all very different concepts. As you can see, the taxi service, we can go for an example. They were always there. It is not a new thing. Cab services for past 50 years we are having. But with Ola and Uber, what we see is that those people who don't even own a single car are owning this particular big startup of hundreds and thousands of taxis, not all over India, abroad also. So it is something which the difference is in the amount of growth that a startup expects. Normal entrepreneurs, they have limited investment abilities, they have limited capabilities, they have limited vision. The main thing over here is that about the vision. The vision is very, very broad of those people who go for startups. So let's move on to the next, because startups are basically known everywhere. What we need to do in the beginning, as we wish to start a startup, we have to incorporate a company. And for incorporation of a company, we need this particular organization, which is called the Registrar of Companies. ROC, as we call it in normal languages. ROC is a Registrar of Company. Again, the definition of ROC is he is a regulatory office under the Indian Ministry of Corporate Affairs that deals with administration of the Companies Act 2013. Now, the Registrar of Companies is a person. They are like officers from the Indian cost cost. I am a cost accountant, so everything comes out to be related to the cost. These are from the company law background people. They pass an exam which is similar to the UPSC examination, and they are from the Indian Corporate Law Service. The short form, we call it as an ICLS. It is an organized Group A service recruitment, which is done through UPSC, similar to that of the IAS. So it is a very important position which is given to a person who clears this particular examination. What is the purpose of ROC? Basically, ROCs are offices in different states. All over India, we have different states, and each state has one ROC of their own. In some bigger states like Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, we even have two ROCs. And as far as I know, I think the ROC of MP sits in the Gwalior city. As for Delhi, we have in Delhi. In UP, we have in Kanpur. I am from Noida, so I know about UP. Basically, they sit in Kanpur over here. The basic purpose of ROC is to ensure that companies incorporation is the basic and primary function of an ROC. There are various functions I've shown in the slide. The registrar takes care of companies' registration, which is known as an incorporation in India. He completes reporting and regulation of companies and their directors and shareholders, and also oversees government reporting of various matters, including the annual filing of various documents. So basically, this is one place, one office where all the documents relating to each and every company in the particular state is maintained. So it is something very important as far as documentation is concerned. Whatever filing we do, entire document eventually lands up to the ROC office. We can always inspect and find out what if in case of companies and LLPs also, the limited liability partnerships, even their documents are kept with the ROCs. The registrar of company takes care of company registration, maintains all the documents related to the companies, He maintains a registry of records related to companies registered with them and permits the general public to access this data on payment of a fee. So even the general public, if they want to access certain data, like suppose I wish to invest in a particular company, I wish to know what is the balance sheet, what are the various charges they held by them, whatever information I need to know about that particular company, that we can get from the ROC, definitely on the payment of a fees, because they also have to maintain their organization. So everything is on certain payment of a fee. The union government maintains administrative control over ROCs through regional directors. Now, the regional directors are people who control the ROCs. There are only seven regional directors, more than 20 ROCs, and only seven RDs. So basically, four and five ROCs come under one particular RD. So if there is any dispute or something, the ROC, they can go to the RDs. That is the job of the RDs. Basically, what we are concerned with in this particular place is we need to incorporate a company, and for that we have to go to the ROC. As I can mention you here, the powers of the Registrar of Companies. The ROC is called the Registrar of Companies. He has various powers with him. Powers in relation to registration of companies. As I said out, this is the most important function of the ROC. So this is the main power that it rests with him. Registrar of Company, formed under Section 3 of the Companies Act, is obtained by registration is obtained by filing an application with the ROC. The first step, if you want to start a new business, is incorporating a company, and for that you have to give application to the ROC. Whichever ROC your office, the registered office of your company falls into, that particular ROC has to be contacted. Then we have another power, that is power in relation to mortgage and charges. Whenever you take any start a business, definitely there are various charges that we, but businesses are, we have heard in this particular a very important line, business is done with borrowed money. Business is done with money, and that too mostly with borrowed money. So whatever loans and charges we have taken, those all are maintained. The register of that particular charges is maintained by the ROC. This is very important as we are talking about the startups. There are angel investors who will be coming to finance our business, and they will definitely like to know whether there are some charges against our company, what is the particular debt situation of the company. So that information they can have from the ROC. So another power that the ROC has is in relation to mortgage and charges. Once you give out a loan, it has to be mentioned over there. Once you pay out that loan, that charge has to be satisfied. Whatever action is taken by the corporate body, that has to be mentioned to the ROC. So it's basically you cannot say कि मेरा अपना काम है, मैं कर रहा हूँ, मुझे किसी को कुछ बताने की जरूरत नहीं है. That is not the point. ROC is supposedly a government officer who is there to control all companies. So he is the main power to whom you have to report each and every single corporate action that we do. Then we have the powers related to inspection, inquiry, and investigation. Now, inspection, inquiry, and investigation over here is relating to the inspection of books. As per the provisions of Section 206 of the Companies Act, the registrar may require any company to furnish information or explanation or produce any document if, after scrutinizing any document, he feels that such documents are necessary. So the ROC has power to ask for any document from the company. So you have to maintain each and every document that are required. These are basically what we call compliances, and compliances is very important part of running a business. And there comes the role of us professionals. We are here to help the entrepreneurs to perform these compliances, because what we assure our clients always is that you are here to run business, you run the business, leave the compliances to us. So it is very important that when you form a team for your startup, you also have a nice team of professionals who can guide you and control your compliances part. Because if you are not complying with any small particular disclosure, even then you may land in a very big trouble. These are very minor compliances which, if done, are not costly, are not time taking. But if ignored or not done, then they may create a very big trouble for the company. So we do not want any sort of trouble. So it is very important that we complete our documentation and inform the ROC as to each of these facts. Then there is also the power to search and seizure. I don't think that is much importance for us over here right now because we are trying to incorporate a business, so there is nothing like that. Then we have this power to remove name from register of companies. The register of companies is a particular register over where all the names of the companies which have been incorporated in this particular state under the jurisdiction of ROC are maintained. So once you are incorporating a company, the name gets added over there. If you wish to remove that name, then again we have to apply to the ROC to get our name removed. There are certain features whereby the ROC has the power to remove the names on its own discretion. If you are not complying with particular things, like if you are not filing accounts, if you are not filing KYC for particular 2 3 years, the ROC can take this particular step also. Of course, after informing you, after asking for the reasons why the compliances have not been done, then in that case, he has the power to do it. This is just an information that what are the powers which are available with the ROC. So once the ROC removes the name from the register, the company will get dissolved, and that will be something which, if we do not want it, then it will be again a very lengthy procedure to get back the name. So it's better that all the compliances are taken care of, and then only we can perform our business efficiently. So ROC, the Registrar of Companies, a very important person because he has all the powers relating to our company's incorporation, maintenance of records, and even those of search or inquiry or investigation. So ROC of Companies is appointed under Section 609 of the Companies Act, covering the various states and union territories, and is vested with the primary duty of registering companies and LLPs floated in the respective states and union territories and ensuring that such companies comply with the statutory requirements under the Act. So basically, that is the major performance function of the ROC. These offices function as registry of records relating to the companies registered with them. Whatever document will be in your company, the same document will be with the ROC office. Everywhere it is a copy. All these documents are filed these days by e-filing, right? Now the days are gone by when we used to have those paper documentation always. Now what we do is we use e-filing by the online methods. So the next topic that is given to us today is that of the din, right? So the din comes in, the importance of din comes in over here, that whatever when we are incorporating a company, we need to have directors. Dit is means directors identification number, that is din. So each director has to have a particular identification number. All the existing and intending directors have to obtain DIN within the prescribed time frame. Now, whomsoever who decides to start a new startup, he has a team, either 2 or 3 or 4, whomsoever founders, we call them the founders of the startups. When they have these people, they become the directors of the companies, obviously. So, for becoming the director, the first thing that is required is having a DIN number. Unless and until you have a DIN number, you cannot become the director of the company. Before you start your incorporation process, you have to also apply for the DIN number. Now, you can see on the slide there are three types of forms I've mentioned. One is the SPICE form, then DIR3 form, and the DIR6 form. The first one is for those directors who have been incorporating a new company and becoming the directors for the first time. The second DIR3 form is a person who intends to become a director in an existing company. There is a company already existing and you are joining in as a director. In that case, you have to make an application in e-form DIR3. Again, these are all e-forms, electronic forms. Everything is on the MCA site. If you visit the MCA site, all these things are over there, and you have just to click on particular application form, fill it up, attach the suitable document, and things are done. It has become a lot easier faceless. You don't have to go to the office. There is no possibility of corruption of any sort. No, no troubles for the entrepreneurs. Basically, we are trying to make things easier for the entrepreneur. The government has this particular policy of making ease of business, that we are always hearing this particular term, ease of business. And so this particular things are all part of ease of business. So why is a din necessary? Because we need to know a person who is starting a new company, who that person is. We should, the government should know. There should be legitimate people who are not in any sort of wrongdoings, that we can say. So for that we have a KYC, know your client. So in that case we have a DIN number. We can apply. In our case, I'm assuming that we are going to start a new business, so it will be the proposed first directors in respect of that new company. So we'll be applying in this particular form of spicy form. Okay. Now, with this form, this is an application form. Necessarily, you have to attach certain documents required that will be obtained for DIN. So those are supporting documents. What are those supporting documents? They are for your identity, your PAN number, your Aadhaar card, all those sorts of proof of identity, proof of residence. The proof of identity can be your Aadhaar card or your PAN card. Similarly, for the proof of residence, we have to attach certain photographs, one or two, whatever is written, scanned copy of those supporting documents as per the guidelines. Physical documents are now no more required to be submitted at the DIN cell. Everything has been done electronic, and physical requirement is no more there. Previously, what we used to see was that even though we had filled in the electronic things, the physical form had also to be sent by post, but that has now been done away with. Maybe the reason for that was the technology was maybe not that reliable, so they may have feared that document or data may get lost. So for that purpose they were taking it as a um, backup plan, that at least we have the physical copies as well. But now that is not required. You have to just scan your supporting documents and attach them with the application form. Then the second thing is the digital signature. We'll be dealing about the digital signature also. That is our next topic for today. The DSCs, the digital signatures, we have to put on that. And then we have to make a fee payment. Obviously, fee payment with every government, whatever we do this particular activity of relating to government, there will be certain fee payment. Upon upload, make the payment of filing fee of e-form DIR 3. Again, in this case, only electronic payment of the fees will be allowed. No sort of cash is there, no sort of checks are there. Only electronic payment, because everything, the form is e-form, the payment will also be through e-payment modes only. The net banking, credit card, debit card, various sorts of UPI, all sorts of e-payments abilities are there which can be used. The user is required to get himself registered on the MCA portal to obtain login ID. Once you have given this application, you will get a login ID. Login on the MCA 21 portal, click on e-form upload link available over there, and then you can upload the form EI, right? So you can upload this e-form, and after payment of fees, your DIN will be generated. Upon upload and successful payment, the IR3 details have been identified. They are approved. Obviously, they need approval also. They'll check whether they are all correct. There is no duplication. Nowhere else you have used these particular documents. So those things are approved. Once they get approved, your DIN will be generated. Fine. In case details of e-form DIR3 are found, something is missing over there. Maybe some supporting document is missing. If there is something wrong, they find something which is not approved. In that case, you will be notified. You can make corrections, amend it, and then again you can upload the form. It's not that once you have made a mistake, it is done with. You always have chances to rectify your mistakes. The common cases of rejection are basically when we miss out certain documents. There are a list of documents. If you miss out one of them, your form will be rejected. So those are the basic common causes of rejection. A provisional DIN is approved only after the scrutiny of the documents attached with the application. So basically, non-submission of supporting documents, or if there is some invalid document, maybe in that case also it will be disapproved. So these are things which have to be kept in mind while uploading your form. DIR 3 form, as I said, in this case, what we have is we have an existing company. Maybe you have just started your company and you have two directors. Now you find that we also need the expertise of another one, and you wish to him to join as your director. In that case, the company is existing, he will be the new director. So that new incumbent will be required to fill up the DIR 3 form. The documents required, the fees, all those will be almost the same as was in the case of new form. DIR 6 form is in case there is any change in the particulars of the directors. Over here, by change, we do not mean that there was a mistake. No, the particulars may change. He may change his address, he may change something else. Whatever is changed, in that case, he may file a new DIR 6 form, and then that will be uploaded and he'll get a new DIN number. I guess that was about DIN. So, as I said, there was digital signature that I was referring to. All these e-filing, DIN number getting, everything that is done through MCA site, everything is electronic. So you cannot put your signature in pen over there, right? When we had every document in paper, we used to put up an pen signature, but now we have everything in e-form. So in that case, we'll have to have the signatures also in the digital form. So DSC is the full form of Digital Signature Certificate, which has been introduced late, obviously, in 2000, because this is a new concept. The Information Technology Act 2000 has provisions for use of digital signatures on the documents submitted in electronic form in order to ensure the security and authenticity of the documents filed electronically. Now, there is always, whenever we perform anything which is done electronically, the problem of security definitely arises over there. Maybe my computer has been used by some other person. Maybe he's putting in something which I was not willing to. But this digital signature will be with you. Not anyone can use it. So this is something which ensures security. This is for the purpose of security that we use digital signatures. As I said, the DIN forms have to be digitally signed by the applicant. These are further certified by a chartered accountant or a company secretary or a cost accountant in practice, who will be certifying that this particular person is, and he is signing this particular form. So another level of security or authenticity has been added by taking the help of a professional. These professionals add to the viability of this particular signature and the application, whichever is being signed. The information, as I said, it has been introduced in 2000. Digital signatures are a very secure and authentic way to submit a document electronically. All filings done by companies, by LLPs under MCA 21 e-governance program are required to be filed using digital signatures by the person authorized to sign the documents. Now the question arises, where can we get these signatures, right? We have to, suppose the directors want that they have to have digital signatures so that they can apply for the DIN numbers. So for that, we have these certification agencies I have mentioned. Certification agencies are appointed by the Office of the Controller of Certification Agencies, that is CCA, Controller of Certification Agencies. Under the provisions of IT Act 2000, there are a total of 8 certification agencies authorized by the CCA to issue digital signature certificates. Then there are certain classes of DSCs, right? We have, uh, for our particular purpose, for corporate actions, we use digital signatures which are class 2 or above category for filings under the MCA. So these are basically class 2 signatures, we call them class 2 digital signatures. A person who has a digital signature is not required to take them again and again. It is not that one time signature. You have this particular signature with you, whatever form, whatever application, whatever documents are required to be signed, they can be put again and again. Obviously, they have a validity. They come for either a validity of 1 year or for 2 years. After the expiry of this particular validity, you need to get them renewed, right? It's not a very difficult process. You can easily get them renewed with the help of the certification agencies. The price of digital signatures is also not very much. It consists of a particular USB token. So the price of that USB token is there. One time cost of issuance of DSC. The person who will be giving you this facility, obviously, he'll be charging some amount for that particular thing, and this will go for 1 year or 2 year depending on whatever you have chosen. After the expiry, you will again have to renew this DSC, and for renewal the same USB token can be utilized. You can again get it verified, and then it will be renewed for another year or so. The company representatives and professionals required to obtain DSCs are free to procure the same from any one of the approved certification agencies as per the portal. There are various professionals who are giving this particular service of providing digital signatures as well. The issuance cost is market driven. Many places they get uh, depends on the person basically, but it is not a very huge amount that is charged. Digital signatures is not a very costly affair. You just need to have it safely with you in your control so that nobody else can use it on your behalf. The security that is required in case of digital signatures is only that you have to keep it safely within your control. Wherever you will be required to put up any e-form, any document, you will have to use this particular digital signature. So now we know who is the ROC. Then we have to get the company incorporated. For that, we need directors who have to have the director identification numbers. For applying for them, we need digital signatures. So we have now understood what the how and where from we can get these digital signatures. Once you have got the directors nominated, you have their documents approved, everything. Now it comes that whatever your object of the business is. Definitely, those people who have decided to start a new company, they have a time within their mind frame, they have settled down what their object for the business would be. So, this is where Memorandum of Association comes in. Okay, it is again, as I said before also, that you cannot say that it is my business, I will run it according to my wishes. I will like to today I'm planning to do a clothing business in my company. Tomorrow I can start a construction business. Another day I can switch over to another business, but that is not possible. You are not it's okay that it is your company, but there are certain controls and compliances which you have to keep in mind. So, for that particular reason, there is a memorandum of association which clearly lays down what all you can do in your business. In case you have an idea that आज ये कर रहे हैं कल हम ये करेंगे, अगर आपके दिमाग में कुछ है तो right in the beginning you can keep this particular point in mind and draft your memorandum accordingly. There is no restriction as to how many things can be added into the memorandum, but once you have framed it, you have to comply with it. That is the outside permit that has been given through the government. Again, the ROC will come into play over here too. So, MOA, as we read out, Memorandum of Association, it is a legal document prepared during the formation and registration process of a company to define its relationship with shareholders, and it specifies the objectives for which the company has been formed. So, the basic thing is the objective for which the company has been formed. Now the question is it required for a startup? Yes, it is required for a startup. For every company you have, whether it is a private company, a public company, non-profit, one person, LLP, everyone has to have a memorandum of association drafted from the very beginning. If a startup plans to register as a company under the Companies Act 2013, it must prepare an MOA before applying for registration. The MOA is basically a charter of the company. It is a legal document framed very, very carefully. You have to keep in mind that everything is absolutely what you want to. Again, it is not a job of anyone. You need to take the help of a professional to get the MOA properly drafted. The objectives you will tell, the name, the thing, all this will come from the entrepreneur. But while drafting it, you have to make sure that it is done by a person who is capable of doing that. So it must be a nice professional. You must take the services of that particular person. It is a legal document prepared during the formation and registration process of a company to define its relationship with shareholders and specifies the objective for which it has been formed. The company can undertake only those activities that are mentioned in the Memorandum of Association. So it is basically a sort of boundary wall that has been created beyond which the company cannot go. So it is very important that whatever you boundary you want to keep for yourself, you are sure about it from the very beginning, and you draft the MOA accordingly. The basic reason why we draft this MOA is to help the shareholders, the creditors, or any other person who is dealing with the company to know the basic rights and powers of the company. They should be aware, the shareholders should be aware what the company is all about, what are we planning to do. The contents of the MOA helps the prospective shareholders in taking the right decision while thinking of investing in the company. As we say right now, we are a small company, but the startups are not bound to be small. They are planned in a way that we are going to go big in a very short span of time. That, as I said in the very beginning, is the basic difference between a normal entrepreneur and a startup founder. The startup founder wants to go big in a very small point of view of time, small shorter time frame. And they start with angel investors, funding from the angel investors, and then they go for second round, first round, second round of funding. That is called seed funding. And then later on they can go for public funding as well. So basically, we are trying to look forward to large number of shareholders, large number of investors. So the compliances should be accordingly done. The MOA must be signed by at least two subscribers in case of a private company and seven in case of a public. So we are talking about private companies itself over here. Now we have what is the contents of Memorandum of Association. Next slide, Devanshi. We have these contents. There are various, the contents are called clauses over here, clauses of Memorandum of Association. We have the name clause, the registered office clause, object clause, liability clause, and capital clause. Now we will understand what basically these clauses are trying to find out. As a name clause, as is very simple from the name itself, it is clear that this contains the name of the company. Now, thinking about the name of the company, it is not a very simple thing that you can say कि कुछ भी नाम रख लेंगे. It's not that way. The name should not be duplicate. So there are thousands of companies already existing. So once you decide to open up a new company, you have to think of a name which is relevant to whatever your object or purpose of the business is. Plus, it should not be already existing. So the name clause is also very important. You have to get the name approved. Once it gets approved, you write it in the MOA. This clause specifies the name of the company. It should not be identical to any existing company. And a private company uses the word private limited at its end. In case of public company, we write only the word limited. Then we have the registered office clause. Now, what is a registered office? You have to decide one particular place which will be considered as your registered office. All the important documents will be kept over there. The meetings will be held over there. So, the point of registered office is also something which has to be pondered carefully and decided, and then it should be given as this particular address. It can be leased. It is not necessarily that the registered office has to be owned. There is no compulsion as to that, but the company has to decide as to one particular place which will be its registered office. So this particular clause specifies the name of the state in which the registered office has to be situated. As we said, the ROC depends on the place of jurisdiction. So, whichever state you are working, the ROC will get the jurisdiction. So, this registered office clause helps you to decide which particular ROC will be your ROC, or you will be falling within the jurisdiction of which ROC. So it helps to determine the jurisdiction of the Registrar of Companies. The company is required to inform the location of the registered office to the ROC within 30 days from the date of incorporation. Now, again, it is a very easy step. There is nothing very difficult in it. But if you miss this out, there may be many serious implications. So, the compliances, if they are done at the right point, they are neither costly nor are they any sort of time taking or difficult. But if you miss them out, then the implications may be serious, they may be time taking, they may be costly. So it's very, very essential that you know from the very beginning what all has to be done and compliances have to be followed. The third, we have object clause. Object, as I said, it is the business that you are trying to set up, whatever nature of the business that you are trying to set up. This states the objective for which the company has been formed. There are basically three subcategories of the object clause: main objective, incidental objective, and other objective. Main objective is one which you have thought of as right now. You are starting a company. I have to make a company with the purpose of opening a suppose a catering business. Whatever, I am just giving an example. So that is something which is in your mind right now, and you will be starting your company with this particular objective. So that happens to become your main objective. It is the main business of the company. But as I said, we can further elaborate our business. We can expand it into different company, different areas. It is not that you are limited to this particular area only. We may get investors and we may try to expand in other areas as well. So for that, we have incidental objectives, which are ancillary to the main objectives. And then leaving scope, again, as we said, it is the boundary. The MOA was the boundary beyond which we cannot go. So we always want to have certain leverage with us कि हम इतना और आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. उसके लिए हम रखते हैं other objectives. These other objectives are vast. You can put anything in them, and they will allow you to change your business, incorporate other activities in your business if they fall in those other objectives. So these are not covered under main or ancillary, but they are other objectives, and the purpose is to just elaborate and extend the objectives of our memorandum so that we can, in case we need to, we can change our business, increase our business, cater to new areas that we wanted to. So this is about the object clause. The fourth content of MOAs is liability clause. Now, what's liability? Liability is word actually mean responsibility. Over here, we mean if there is any problem, whose liability will it be about the company? So the shareholders are liable for every action that is taken in a company. Now, this liability clause states the liability of the members of the company. The shareholders are the members of the company. In case of an unlimited company, the liability is unlimited. In case of a limited liability company, obviously the liabilities are limited to the amount that has been invested by the shareholder. There's also a company which is limited by guarantee. In that case, certain guarantees are also given. Then the last clause of Memorandum of Association is the capital clause. This clause details the maximum capital that a company can raise, which is also called the authorized share capital of the company. Authorized, as the word itself indicates, is something which is you are authorized to hold. So this has to be clearly mentioned in the Memorandum of Association. In case you have to extend further, there are a certain scope for changes in MOA, increase your authorized capital, but basically till the particular whatever we can think of for the time being, this will be the authorized share capital of our company. And from that authorized share capital, we keep on issuing share capital to that particular extent. This also explains the division of such capital amount into the number of shares of to a fixed amount. Like we write 1 lakh shares of rupees 10 each, that is the authorized share capital. So that is the capital clause, and this is also contained in the Memorandum of Association. So it is a very vast document covering each and every aspect of our particular business, starting from the name, the address, the registered office, the object, the purpose for which it has been incorporated, the company, who will be liable to the investor, and where we are getting the capital from. It has to be, is MOA required for the registration of a company? Is it an optional document or a compulsory one? Definitely, it is a compulsory document. You have to submit it again to the ROC. Everywhere, whatever documentation that goes to the ROC. So the company owners must prepare the MOA of a company before applying for the registration. It is a mandatory document required to be submitted to the Registrar of Companies. The MOA is signed by all the directors and members of the proposed company. So directors will be signing again. This will be given, a signed copy will be sent to the ROC. The purpose of MOA, as I pointed out, it is to limit the scope of activities and powers of the company. It is authorized to do, a company is authorized to do only those objects that are mentioned in the business. As I said, it is not the sweet will of the founders that we can say कि हमने तो कुछ भी कर लेना है, हमारी company है. That is not done. Whatever you have said in the MOA, only those activities can be taken up by you. You cannot say if you do anything against that, that would be ultra virus. That will be not allowed. It will be a breach of the provisions of Companies Act. Even a startup, it is required to have an MOA because it is an organization. Then we have the last topic. I think we have to take some questions also. So I'll just wrap up with the Articles of Association. Now, what are the Articles of Association? They are a document, again, as an MOA, it is Articles of Association, that was Memorandum. It is again a document that specifies the regulations for a company's operations and defines the company's purpose. The document lays out how tasks are to be accomplished within the organization, including the process for appointing directors and handling of financial records. So these basic things are taken up by the Articles of Association. Now we have the contents of Articles of Association. Again, the company's name, definitely the purpose of the company, the share capital as was mentioned in the MOA, the organization of the company, and how the shareholders meetings would be done. So, name and purpose, I think we are already clear with. The share capital, I would like to say, the number and type of shares that comprise a company's capital are listed in the Articles of Association. The number of shares is a very important thing. Obviously, the capital we need to know. The type of shares, they may be preference, they may be equity. What type of shares are issued, that is mentioned in the articles. There will always be at least one form of common share that makes up a company's capital. Then there may be, other than equity, there may be preference shares also, but equity shares have to be there. What do you mean by the organization of the company? What has to be written in the Articles of Association regarding this? The legal organization of the company, including its address, the directors, the officers, their details, their identity of the founders. In case of startups, the founders are very important. So their identities have to be mentioned, and original shareholders, everything is mentioned in the Articles of Association. So if you want to find these details, you have to look into the articles. The last point we have is the shareholders meetings, the provisions for the first general meeting of shareholders, and the rules that will govern subsequent annual shareholders meeting. Every year we have to have an annual shareholders meeting where things are discussed, the financial results are discussed, maybe other decisions are taken which have to be taken by the majority shareholders. So who, when will they be held, whatever the details as to the shareholders meetings, they are mentioned in the Articles of Association. The notice that has to be sent out before the meeting, the resolutions and votes that have to be passed in the meeting. Resolution word I can explain, it is something, the decision taken in the meeting. For that we pass a resolution. If it is passed, and it becomes approved by the shareholders. So these all details are laid out in detail in this Articles of Association. So this was basically the various topics that we had to cover today. I hope I have been clear. Yes, sir.
Yes, definitely, ma'am. Really, it has been a very elaborative session because ये terms definitely बार बार हमारे startups के सामने हमारे जो co-founders हैं, जो wannabe entrepreneurs हैं, सामने हर बार आते हैं, but इतना elaborative और definitely एक ऐसा ये चीज था कि जिसकी clear understanding होना बहुत important था. So we are really thankful to you.
Okay, I guess there is a technical glitch. Swati ma'am, I would like to take two, three questions as we have limited time here.
Yeah.
I have one question from the viewer that what are the reasons for DIN rejection?
Yeah, I had mentioned the reasons for DIN rejection. They are basically if the documents are, there was a list of documents that have to be submitted with it. If it is, if it is not up to the mark, there is some document that is missing out, that in that case it will be rejected, but then again we can correct it, we can attach the proper document and attach it. Sometimes the signs may not, the signature may not match, or if there is something like, suppose we have some people may have an Aadhaar card from one particular area and some other address is from another, there may be confusion about that, that can be a reason. If there is some sort of forgery, obviously, if there is something, if the fault is with us, definitely they'll catch it. And because everything is these days on the platform, you cannot put up a forged document, so that may be a reason. But whatever, normally, no, we are not talking about forgery because we assume that people are honest. So in that case, normally there is a mistake of a missed out document, something which may be left out, or there is a problem with the photograph, or the size may not be appropriate. In case of our e-filing, these things are also important कि इतने जीबी तक की फाइल होनी चाहिए, ये साइज होना चाहिए, वो तरीके का कोई प्रॉब्लम हो सकते हैं.
ओके मैम, डिन से ही रिलेटेड एक और क्वेश्चन है कि हु इज ऑथराइज्ड टू अलॉट डिन?
Who is authorized to allot DIN? ROC. This is all these things. The power eventually rests with the ROC. Whomsoever, whichever jurisdiction you'll be the decided it will be, and those application will be sent to MCA, the portal. We have that MCA 21 portal. Over there, we apply for the DIN, upload the DIR or the SPICE form, and then we get the approval from the ministry itself.
Okay. I'll just take one last question from the viewer like that. Can ROC form be revised?
ROC form meaning?
ROC form be revised? A viewer
R
asked the question.
Which form? I can do not get it.
I
ROC.
think the question is incomplete, I guess.
Which form? Yes, in that case, in a general way, I can answer it that all
Okay.
forms have this particular allowed. We are allowed to revise them, even the
Revise the
income
form.
tax, and everything. We are not there to. Again, we said as there is an ease of business doing which we are trying to so do. We are not trying to discourage anyone from opening a business or starting a new venture. There, we are always there, the ministry, the government, they are always willing to help out the entrepreneurs. If there is a mistake, they can always revise it. Again, as I said, anything which is concerned with the government, we always have a separate payment. So maybe there is a revision fees, and then they can be allowed to revise the form, whichever form the viewer is talking about.
Okay. So as we are bring this session to a close, I'll quickly मैं
Definitely.
अपने viewers को बताना चाहूंगी कि इस सेशन के बाद इस टॉपिक से रिलेटेड हमने क्विज जो है हम अपने सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स पे डालेंगे, तो प्लीज उस पे जाके उस क्विज को अटेम्प्ट कीजिए. वील प्रोवाइड हमने बहुत सारे गिफ्ट्स और अमेजोन वाउचर्स जो हैं हमारे व्यूअर्स के लिए, हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स के लिए रखे हैं. तो अग्रांशु सर, ओवर टू यू.
बिल्कुल, डेफिनेटली ज़रूर क्विज़ को अटेंड करें क्योंकि देखिए इतने अच्छे और इतने इलैबोरेटिव सेशंस के बाद आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग पर भी हम चाहते हैं कि आपने कहाँ तक उस चीज़ों को समझा है, ये भी हम जान सकें और आप यू कैन टेस्ट योरसेल्फ. एंड एट लास्ट मैं बिल्कुल आई एम वेरी मच थैंकफुल टू स्वाति चतुर्वेदी जी एज वेल एज वो सारे व्यूअर्स जो आज इस शो में हमारे साथ जुड़े। और मैम ने बहुत अच्छा, बहुत इलेबोरेटिव सेशन दिया। आई एम रियली थैंकफुल टू यू ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ जबलपुर स्मार्ट सिटी एंड इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर। और डेफिनेटली हम लगातार अपने व्यूअर्स के लिए ऐसे ही एक्सपर्ट्स, ग्लोबल एक्सपर्ट्स के साथ और भी सेशंस को लेकर के लगातार आते रहेंगे। और जुड़े रहिए हमारी इस लीगल पाठशाला से, जहां पर आप लीगल डॉक्यूमेंटेशन और अपनी स्टार्टअप से रिलेटेड सारे लीगल चीजों के बारे में आपको ऐसे ही जानकारी मिलती रहेगी। सो थैंक यू एवरीवन।
ग्रांशु सर, मैं बस कल का टॉपिक के बारे में थोड़ा सा बताना चाहूंगी कि कल हमारा लीगल पाठशाला का 6th डे है। सो वील कवर कॉस्ट ऑफ नॉन कंप्लाइंस एंड लीगल स्टेप्स टू वाइंडिंग डाउन द बिजनेस। यस ग्रांशु सर, इफ यू हैव एनीथिंग।
डेफिनेटली। देखिए, आपको जो कल का टॉपिक है उसके बारे में भी अब जानकारी मिल चुकी है, तो आपकी जो क्यूरियोसिटी है वो और भी इसी तरह से जो आपको अभी तक थी वो बनी रहे। और कल आपकी क्यूरियोसिटी का आपको हल मिलेगा, जो आप फर्दर जो हमारे टॉपिक के लिए देखना चाहेंगे। टिल देन स्टे सेफ और जुड़े रहें जबलपुर स्मार्ट सिटी इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर के साथ। और एक बार पुनः जाते जाते फिर से स्वाति मैडम का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहेंगे
Thank
इस
you from my
इम्पोर्टेंट
side.
सेशन के लिए।
And as
थैंक यू
I
सो
said,
मच।
compliance is very important. So you'll be knowing non-compliance का result कल पता चल जाएगा.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, till we meet next tomorrow, you all take good care of yourself and keep learning. Thank you so
You
much.
do.